What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. There's quite a bit for me to get through, and I'm not going to waste my time with a long introduction, so do drop a like on the video, hit that subscribe button, and of course, let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. Right, look, I'm going to get straight into it with some good news. Not only have we heard that Diogo Jota has signed a new deal, and I'll move on to that in a minute, it looks like he could only be a couple of weeks away from starting training properly, because he hasn't had any pre-season since he picked up that hamstring injury, so fingers crossed, it won't be too long before we see Diogo Jota in and around the matchday squads again. Of course, we do kick off this Saturday against Fulham at a 12:30 p.m. kickoff. We'll be live on our Twitch channel from 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. 11:30 a.m. Even saying it sends a shiver down my spine. I hate being up that early. Anyway, back to the good news. Diogo Jota has signed a new long-term contract at the club. It's a 5-year deal that will keep him here until the summer of 2027. I'm going to be honest with you, I've got no idea what the wages are. I'm sure it'll be affordable to the club or they wouldn't be doing it. And I'm also sure it won't be the 300-400 grand a week mark. I'm sure he's probably somewhere in the mid 100s, something like that. His representative is George Mendes, who I believe runs the Guest a Few agency, also represented Fabinho and numerous other high caliber footballers, and they've been talking with the club for a while, and it seems like it's gone rather smoothly. So welcome back, Diogo Jota, even though you haven't gone anywhere, but great to have you sign a new deal at the club. I'm guessing when he came in, and I think it was a £41 million move from Wolves, if my memory is right. I think when he came in, he's probably on a highly incentivised contract. We know FSG like to do that when players come in. And then if they produce, which he has with 34 goals and 85 appearances, I think, they'll reward him with a new deal. And that's exactly what they've done. So, welcome back, Diogo Jota. Again, you haven't gone anywhere. I don't know why I keep saying welcome back, but for me, this is great news and a much needed shot in the arm ahead of the new season. Yet another player committing his future to the football club. And look, he's been a big hit since he's come in from Wolves. Jurgen Klopp speaks about him very, very highly, calls him a pressing monster, says how tactically aware he is. And I think he's been a great addition to the Liverpool playing staff. So, yeah, good news all around. Diogo Jota contracted to Liverpool until 2027. Right, let's move on to a little island that we frequent in the summer when we talk transfer stories. You get where I'm going with this? So, look, there's been yet another link to Liverpool and Marcus Leonardo, who is the 19-year-old Santos forward. He has a £50 million release clause. And that's about it. That's all I know. But the links are there again today from Brazil saying that Liverpool are interested in bringing him to Anfield. Now, you may remember we spoke about this guy a few months ago. Maybe not even a few months ago. Maybe it was like 4 weeks ago when a journalist, or TV journalist I think it was, in Brazil mentioned that Liverpool had agreed to sign him. Nothing came of that. But yet again today, there's another story coming out of Brazil to say that we are after him. Would we pay £50 million for a 19-year-old? Doubtful, to be honest with you, especially a 19-year-old that hasn't played in Europe yet. But maybe this is one of those deals where Brexit comes in handy. And if you don't know what I mean by that, from my understanding of it, it's got a little bit easier for Liverpool to look to bring in players outside of what was the EU, of course, when the UK were in that. Now that they can enforce their own borders, probably a little bit easier to get a work permit. We all remember D'Souza, that young guy who was with us, who never got a look in but was shipped all around Europe. So, look, I can't tell you if this is true or it isn't true. If you're like me, you probably get a little bit excited every time you hear Liverpool are linked with a Brazilian because, let's be honest, the Brazilians that we've had at the club have been pretty good. I'm going right back to Lucas Leiva, by the way, Fabio Aurelio, and many other. I think the first one I can remember is Donny, but I could be wrong. If you have an earlier one than that, let me know in the comment section because my memory could be playing tricks on me. Right, so that's one that I think we can say maybe belonging on a certain island, but one we've definitely missed out on, by the looks of it, is Chukwuemeka from Aston Villa. It looks like Chelsea have agreed a fee and personal terms with Aston Villa and the players' representatives, and it looks like that could be his next destination. He was linked to Liverpool, he was linked to Barcelona, and a host of other clubs around Europe. If he does go to Chelsea, it'll be a good signing from Chelsea's perspective, but I honestly do wonder, is that the best place for him to continue his development? Because with all due respect to Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel, they're not exactly a bastion of giving young players a chance, are they? Like, yes, there has been some. Reece James has come through. Tammy Abraham, who of course went off to Roma. Mason Mount, I suppose, who was at Derby and now is getting a look in. But look, not up to me to decide if it's a good or bad thing, just giving you my opinion on it. I wouldn't have minded Liverpool going after him, though, in all honesty. He's a very, very good player. And let's see how he progresses at Chelsea. Right, Nat Phillips news. Liverpool are expecting offers for Nat Phillips before the season gets underway. It seems like we may have lowered our valuation of him just a little bit. I'm believed that around 10, or excuse me, I'm led to believe that around 10, 12 million pound could be enough to get him. It was 15 million. Nobody really bit at that. There's still talk that Bournemouth could come back in from. I don't know if that interest is still there or not. But as I said, Liverpool are willing to let him go. But I think 10 million is probably the least. And you know what? In all honesty, I think 10 million is a bargain for Nat Phillips because he is Premier League proven. He has played in Europe. He's made a show of Zlatan Ibrahimovic and AC Milan, sending him for a pint of milk. I love that. And for that alone, he's got to be worth £10 million of anyone's money. But seriously, he's a decent defender. He probably isn't best suited to wear high line because I don't think he has the recovery pace needed. But for somebody who maybe wants someone back there for some old-fashioned centre-half work, lots of headed clearances, putting your body on the line, Nat Phillips would be a great addition to any Premier League squad. And I hope he gets the move because I believe he deserves to be playing regular football. And with all due respect, I don't think he's really going to get that at Liverpool, barring another catastrophic injury crisis. Right, Premier League Chief Executive Richard Masters has announced a massive shake-up of VAR. All the recordings of conversations between referees and VAR officials will now be available to the public after matches. I believe a similar system is already in place in the MLS. And this is something we've spoken about quite a bit on our shows over on Twitch and stuff. I think it should be the case where we get to have a little insight into what is being communicated between the referee and the VAR officials, because it would take away any preconceived or ideas that we have, or maybe biases that some of us think the referees have. It would be lovely to be able to hear these, and that's exactly what Richard Masters has done here with this latest bit of news. I think it comes fresh off the back of Mike Dean, I think it is, who's going to be writing a column for one of the UK newspapers every Monday speaking about the big decisions and what the thought process was. Mike Dean is, of course, purely a VAR official for this season. So, again, I think this is a great I don't want to call it an update, but a great change, and one that I think will hopefully lead to a situation down the line where maybe refs are mic'd up and we actually get to hear the conversations between them and the players. One good thing from that would be, I think it would involve less cheek from the players, less swearing towards the referees and stuff like that, which would maybe have a bit more respect in the game. And look, I'm not a big fan of referees, but I do think respect needs to be learned at an early age, and rugby is a great example of how to respect referees, and hopefully we come to a conclusion come to a situation where that happens in football. Right, last little thing I wanted to bring up before I finish up tonight is, all pre-season we've been speaking about a potential 4-2-3-1 from Jurgen Klopp, and we didn't see it in any of the games in pre-season whatsoever. He did allude to the fact that maybe we'd use two midfielders at one point when he was interviewed. He did speak about a system change in a couple of interviews, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't remember particularly us starting a game with a 4-2-3-1. So what do you guys think? Will he maybe experiment with this over the course of the season to try and shake it up a little bit, maybe when he gets Diogo Jota back, or he feels like Fabio Carvalho are up to speed, or is up to speed and can maybe implement the system a bit better? Or was this something that we all just assumed was going to happen when we signed Darwin Núñez, but may not come to fruition? Either way, I would like to see a few little tweaks and changes, because the Champions League final, and particularly Carlo Ancelotti's comments, spoke about the fact that maybe we are a little bit predictable at times in our patterns of attack. That is it for me tonight, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow. And also, I will be recording my predictions in the next day or two for the Premier League season. Who's going to finish in the European places, who's going to be up for relegation, and all the usual stuff. Thank you, guys. I will talk to you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.